This is Starcast, the official podcast of your Billingham Stars. Watch and listen for the very latest news and interviews from within the Big Red Machine.
Hi, welcome to the latest edition of Starcast, your official podcast for the Billingham Town Council sponsored Billingham Stars. Welcome to episode 25, a bit of a celebration episode, a silver jubilee and all that jazz. Joined by Carol and Jono as always. Evening both, how's things?
Improving.
One of us is on IR this week for the next wee while. A bit of a is that an upper body injury, would you say? Yeah,
upper body we go with.
One of us has sustained an upper body injury, throwing himself around a five-side pitch. Wasn't me and it wasn't Carol, but yeah, full recovery to Jono. It's not stopping him being on our pod, and we're welcome to have him, and we'll talk about all things Billingham Stars. We have a game to talk about from last weekend, a double header coming up to talk about in the week ahead, the results and tables from around the league as usual. And for those who've been on social media today, a little something different in the third segment. We've had a few questions, a few points to raise, so we'll have ourselves a little mailbag in section 3. So plenty to get stuck into. I've done all that without forgetting to. There we go. That's what I just talked about. I should really remember when I do these graphics; it would help. But yeah, so we'll do an intro, talk about the game in Widnes from Sunday. We've got a double header with Nottingham Lions coming up home on Saturday, away on Sunday, and then we'll finish off with our mailbag later on. That would have went a lot smoother if I'd done the titles at the start, but never mind. We live and learn. It's only episode 25. We're getting better. So we'll start with last weekend, just a first away game for a few weeks for the Billingham Stars. We had a nice little run of home form. To keep the season ticking over. An away trip it was on Sunday to Planet Ice Widnes and a game for the Widnes Wild. It finished Widnes 1, Billingham 3. Good start from the Stars, an early goal again. Michael Elder from Ian Brown in third minute made it 1-0. But that was Stars' only goal until the 50th minute. Widnes equalised in the second period with Andrew Hopkins. And it was 1-1 for a long, long time until Conor McNulty, with 10 minutes to go, he potted the game winner. And then Ian Brown, his 52nd of the season, from Mikey and from James Helens, putting the seal on things, final 3 minutes. And it finished 3-1 to the Billingham Stars. 50 shots from the Stars, but that blast from the past, we've mentioned him before. He's done us a couple of times in games past. Paul Maudsley in net for Widnes. We 50 shots, so 47 saves for him. Jacob in net for the Stars, 30 saves from 31 shots. Carol and Jono were ringside. If you've heard the Big Red Machine radio, Carol introduced a new sponsor to the broadcast. She was there with Hypothermia, and so Carol, do you want to kick us off in a chilly old town in the northwest, Widnes? And it was not the usual Stars fare we're used to this season, that's for sure.
No, there was quite a lot different about Sunday. So that's Jono might be able to back me up on this one, but that's the coldest I've ever been in Widnes. I don't remember it being that cold. I don't know, maybe I'm just misremembering, but it was absolutely Baltic on Sunday. What else? The shirt thing all went wrong. That was silly. So watching Ian Brown skating around in his black shirt back to front was a bit weird, and occasionally clocked myself looking at the ice thinking, why have we only got 4 men? Oh yeah. No, we haven't. We've got 5. That was a bit weird. And at the Stars performance, we weren't quite at the races on Sunday. I think they'd be the first to admit the performance wasn't there. I think Fozzie spoke about it in the post game about yes, we had plenty of offensive zone time, and we did, but we didn't do a great deal with it. And to be quite honest, in the second period, we didn't have that much zone time either. And I don't know. Sunday just felt off for a lot of reasons. And hopefully, if you're going to have one bad performance in the running, we'll take that one. That's fine. But I think it might be a wake-up call for the weeks to come that we can't put in that sort of 60 minutes and expect to come out with a result every time, because we won't.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that Fuzzy said, and I think you both alluded to it. The start we had, yes, we scored early, but before that, Widnes had a handful of chances even in the first couple of minutes, and against a possibly a better team, a more higher up the league team, you could have found yourself a goal or two behind. Talking about the shirts, I meant to say that off the top. It reminded us of a thing. Newcastle in the first, I think it was the first year of the Super League. The Cobras were then. They went down to Cardiff. It was on Sky Sports, obviously, and the kit man forgot the shirts completely. So when they got down to Cardiff, they put a call out to any fans in the vicinity could they turn up with shirts, and they actually played the game wearing fan shirts with tape on the back. So that kind of reminded us of that. But yeah, so Widnes had the Valentine's shirts, which they did. To be fair to Widnes, they did tell Alan about a couple of weeks ago. So it was known. It was kind of our mistake. I know people are having a go at Widnes and they shouldn't do this and what have you. They did let us know, and it kind of a couple of players, like you say, maybe didn't get the message. But yeah, it reminded us of that Cobras trip down in Cardiff, which is if you try and look it up let's say it was a Sky Sports game live to the world, and then these Newcastle players wearing fan shirts. So it has happened before at a league much higher than the NIHL North Division 1. But Jono, yeah, so Carol's set the scene. It's cold, you're injured, lower body injury, causing you pain, and the Stars' performance possibly didn't help ease that pain of yours.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was for the lack of effort. I just think, I don't know, maybe we've been a bit spoilt too much over the last year or two. Just that, I don't know, trying to put my finger on it, that pizzazz, the snappiness of the passing, the crispness, the clinicalness, it just wasn't there. As Poisey said, we absolutely dominated the offensive zone throughout most of the night, if not for 45, 50 minutes of the night. And it just, even we were in the offensive zone, nothing was happening. We were doing a lot of circling, a lot of cycling. Shots were coming in, were lackluster or straight at the netminder's chest. I think it didn't help that they had a big love heart as a target in the middle of his chest there as well. I think we kept hitting that more times than we did anything else. And yeah, it was just really weird to explain. I think defensively we're fine and we were solid. And I think you mentioned it there. I mean, yeah, the Widnes Wild, the huffed and the puffed and they skated hard all night long. But it's probably a bit thankful that they weren't as clinical as a top half team, or it could have been a different result on the night. But yeah, I wouldn't say we got away with one because we did have that little bit of extra class than they did. Obviously, when the goals came along, so there were 3 very good finishes, to be fair. But yeah, if Widnes Wild had a clinical scorer, we could have been in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I was following as best I can from home on the social and on the chat, and there seemed to be a few odd man rushes Widnes had, and Jacob coming to the fore, Jacob getting back in net. First time in a while for maybe an extended run for Jacob after his little breakaway, and Jacob had to come up big, and it was important that he did that to allow us to recover eventually and take the win, Jono.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely weird being there. I never felt once that we weren't going to win. It was really weird. Like, I don't know whether it's because we were playing Widnes and I thought they don't really have that out-and-out sniper that can hurt you. Like, I know like Leeds have someone who is quite clinical, and Owen Dell and Michael Deneko. I don't think Widnes have got that sharpshooter, hence probably the league positions of those 2 teams as well. So when they were getting these odd man rushes, and again, I was all confident in either Tommy breaking it up if he was defending on his own, or Jacob make it in a great save because he's that sort of netminder who thrives in those 2-in-1 situations. But yeah, I just said earlier on, I think we were probably very, very lucky that they didn't have that out-and-out sniper, that clinical guy who can be the difference in winning and losing.
Yeah. Talking about snipers then, Carol, to the game-winning goal, Connor, kind of in a phone booth, stick handling, finding the shot, getting it ball down. 9th goal of the season, and for all he's been off and on in terms of his appearances, and obviously he's an early season on a 2-way, and then finally when he's full time with us, getting him in the lineup every week as much as we can. He's finally coming good again as the one we saw in the early of the season, and a well-deserved game-winning goal.
Absolutely. He works really, really hard, Connor. So 100% he deserves everything that comes to him, because I don't think you'll see anybody working much harder than him when he's on the ice. He is quite greedy, and I like that. He will shoot more times than not. And you know, if you don't shoot, you don't score. So I really quite like the fact that he is a little bit greedy, and good on him for doing that. And yeah, beautiful goal for a game winner as well. He just needs to keep doing what he's doing for me. He seems quite happy on the line that he's on. He's clicking really well, and yeah, just keep what you're doing.
And the support, Jono, the travelling fan on a Sunday night across to the northwest. We've said it a few times, but the support on the road is growing as much as the home support, and another good travelling crowd down in Widnes for the boys.
Yeah, another fantastic turnout, and I think Carol admit, I mean, there was probably a group of 4 or 5 people that we'd never seen in our lives before going out. Have we ever been to a home game? So it's great to see these new faces. Long may it continue. And we were missing a fair few people who were on holiday this week, and thankfully they weren't missed too much in the numbers. But great noise, got the win, and probably just helped the lads over the line there.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, 3 points on 3 goals to keep the run going. We'll talk about the results of other games very, very shortly. But anything else from Sunday? We mentioned the shirts. What did you think of Widnes Valentine's jersey? It's the first time anybody in our division, I think, has done something like that. So maybe just starting a trend of new special shirts.
Yeah, I liked it because I compared it directly to some of the horrific Elite League versions that I've seen in recent years, because the Valentine shirt is a thing in the Elite League, and Sheffield Steelers in particular usually do something pretty awful for Valentine's Day. So I really quite liked it, although Jono's already pointed this out. They did have a massive target on the front of the shirt. I'm not entirely sure that helped our shooters on the night, but it was one of the better efforts I've seen. Yeah.
No, John, anything from you?
Not for me. A lot of crap.
bar humbug, whatever the Valentine's.
I'm a traditional jersey guy. I like the way the NHL do theirs, and Alan does ours very similar to, quite plain, and it's all about the logo on the front. So yeah, I'm quite a traditionalist in that sense.
Yeah. No, fair play to Widnes for trying something new. We'll see if any other teams pick up. I know Hawks have had a few special shirts the last couple of years, so we'll see if it becomes more of a thing in our division. Like you say, it's definitely the league. It's a bit more prevalent in an IHL national. So whether it trickles down to our division, we shall see in the future. If there's nothing further from Planet Ice Widnes, then we'll leave things there as far as Sunday goes. Stars returning Sunday night with 3 points safely tucked up, belted into the seat and the coach. We'll plough on straight away with the results from around the division. Another busy weekend in the NIHL, North Division 1. As we've said before, kind of hitting the business end. The last few weeks of the regular season are upon us. And from the weekend's fixtures, we had on Saturday a Blackburn Hawks 8, Widnes 2, Widnes' first game of their double weekend, facing the team second and first in the league for whatever punishment they were given from that. But comfortable home win for Blackburn on Saturday. And then it was Leeds 5, Whitley 8 on Saturday afternoon. Saturday evening rather at the Castle, and then Sunday full programme. Deeside 3, Nottingham 8, Hull 7, Leeds 1. Deep breath. Solihull 6, Blackburn 5, Whitley 11, Sheffield 4, and Widnes 1, Billingham 3, as we know about. Miss Carol, where would you like to start with your pick of the results from the weekend?
There's only really one place to go, isn't there?
Hull, you mean Hull versus Leeds, right?
No. We called this one out last week, didn't we? It was by far the tie of the weekend. And apparently it didn't disappoint. I've been reading an awful lot about this online. Listened to Ollie Lomax's post game. Sounded like an absolute barn burner. I'm talking about Solihull v Blackburn. I just realised I never actually said it, but if you don't get what I'm on about, it just means you didn't watch last week. It seems to have delivered on every level. From a Stars point of view, it definitely delivered because it just gives us a little bit more breathing space at the top there. But from a neutral's point of view, apparently that was the game to watch this weekend. Fans from both teams talking about how good it was. Great advert for the league, etc., etc. So yeah, we said it would be the game of the weekend, and so it proved.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the box score courtesy of NIHL stats. There was never more than a goal in it. Blackburn 1-0, then Solihull 2-1, 2s each. Solihull 3-2, 3s each. Solihull 4-3, 4s each. Blackburn 5-4, 5 each. And then the winning goal at 56-57 from Dan Mulcahy, assisted by Nicholas Otterson, because, of course, 2 penalties each, 1 power play goal each, shot on goal fairly even. No, they're not. Just ignore that. 57 on Graham Laverick, 41 on Ben Keddy. So Laverick having himself a game as well. But yeah, a right old barn burner. Jono, you've had yourself across this one, you know what's been going on?
Yeah. I mean, just to talk about what Carol's been saying, it's been actually fantastic to read about this game. Fans from both sides saying exactly the same thing. Said the referee wasn't the best, but didn't affect the outcome. And that was in both ways, which is what you want. You don't want no officiating decisions to decide a game like that. It was just two well-stacked offensive teams went toe-to-toe. And one team came out 1 goal better off. And what more can you want as a fan of those two teams? And yeah, it's more than, I mean, over the last couple of weeks, there's been some hammerings of some teams. So, and obviously, on social media, the Barons got a bit of a hammering as well, and a bit of a kick in over the last weeks. So it's good to see that they put a bit of performance in, and people are talking about different things this week. But yeah, great for the league, great for the run-in, and even better for a Stars fan.
Yeah, we'll see how it affects the league table in a minute. Leeds, no point weekend, a bit unusual for them. They say we've been singing their praises, but it meant a 4-point weekend for the Warriors. We talked last week about how Warriors had to make their games in hand count. 6-point weekend, thank you, Carol. Yes.
6 points.
We've only had the 3-point system for the whole season that I've just forgotten about. A full weekend of points available for the Whitley Warriors, and scoring plenty of goals as well, which is a nice change for the Warriors, and that the fans to be talking about on the ice, things which they did, and a good win on Sunday at the Hillheads Ice Palace as well, Jono.
Yeah. I mean, as 2 results, that's massive for the Warriors, to be fair. I think confidence in the stands has been a little low over the last couple of weeks. I think 1 or 2 of them have started mentioning the Lions will getting ever so close. They still are quite close because they've had themselves a weekend as well, battering the defenseless Dragons, quite literally. But yeah, 2 huge results, and just keeps the Lions off their tails, because I think them 2 will go into the final weekend, because I think the Warriors have got the Hawks twice, they've got the Stars twice, and they've also got the Lions twice going into the running.
Yeah. Anything else on the results, Carol? Anything?
Yeah, I was going to mention the Dragons, but I've decided we sounded a little bit like broken records on that score. I think we just have to accept now that the Dragons aren't really very good.
Yeah, they are who they are, and so endeth the lesson. But yeah, Nottingham Lions noticeable. Obviously, we'll talk about Lions in a little bit coming up for the Stars this weekend. Not just winning, but scoring a hell of a lot of goals. So it's something we're going to have to be wary of this coming weekend.
Defensively, we're going to have to be switched on. It's just that simple. And the confidence of scoring goals. They have been conceding as well. They've been in some high-scoring games. But defensively, we'll need to be switched on. We'll need all defense available as we can, and whichever netmind is in between the sticks, which obviously could be both this weekend since we do play the Lions twice home and away. Both of them are going to have to be on their game. And I think it's actually a good weekend for us to play a very competitive Lions team before we head into the cup final.
Yeah, no, we'll talk about that shortly, but we'll see how those results affect the league standings. Warriors, the latest team to book their ticket to the postseason. Now, top 6 have qualified for the playoffs. Nottingham on 4 behind, another few points for them, and they'll stamp their ticket as well. But the big thing is now Blackburn do not have any more games in hand, and they are 9 points behind. So losing that game in Solihull, obviously the one on Saturday, which was their make-up game, and then losing on Sunday while the Stars battle to take the 3 points. So it's a 9-point gap with 8 games left each. Yeah. So it's going. I mean, we've said it's going to the wire. But the good thing is it's in Stars' hands to do what needs to be done, Carol.
Yeah, that's all you can ask for, isn't it, really? We've got those points in the bag. It's our ball to drop. I'm taking nothing for granted, given what happened last season. It really is just for us to keep that momentum going. Take each game as it comes. Take each game as the cup final that it now is. Mm-hmm. And just keep focused. Blackburn actually now have to keep one eye over the shoulder as well. Looking back at Solihull, they're only 5 points behind now. Solihull are on a real roll and they look so good at the minute. So Blackburn have got, they're looking forwards and backwards at the minute. So yeah, we just have to concentrate on ourselves and let everybody else fight it out.
Yeah, and Solihull 11 games on the belt, Jono, and they've kind of sewn up third place at least, like you say, 12 points gap between third and fourth.
I mean,
Solihull are looking up, Blackburn are looking up and down.
Yeah. I mean, for the Barons, it's just all steam ahead for them. Get as much performance into those players as they possibly can. Get as much confidence into that team as much as possible. Maybe they catch the Hawks, don't know. It is only 5 points. They do have each other to play against as well again, just after the cup final. But yeah, all steam ahead for the Barons, and into the playoffs, they're going to be a huge threat, especially on that home ice. But as for the Stars, maybe they're just aligning quite nicely this year, excuse the pun. And one more loss for the Hawks means the Stars just might be able to win the league title in Whitley Bay.
Now who's been dreaming?
As I say, the Stars might just align.
Yeah. We'll keep an eye on things as the season moves on. Towards the bottom, as we've said, the playoff race. Sheffield, you have to say, looking doubtful for that 8th spot. Widnes, 2 defeats this weekend, but also Leeds lost twice as well. So it's still up in the air between those two, fighting out for the last spot. And that's also, I think, I'm just trying to check there.
I mean, fixtures between, if there's any left fixtures between
Leeds play on the 2nd of March at Widnes.
It'd be huge. Especially now, it's like this is where that 3 points thing comes into hand massively. Like, when you look at like 14 to 20, you think, oh, that's quite a big gap, but it's 6 points, it's 2 wins. And if you can get one win over your rival, it's almost a 6-pointer anyway.
Yeah, Leeds have got home games against Billingham, Deeside, Hull, and Nottingham, and they're away to Deeside, they're away to Sheffield, Whitley, and that away game in Widnes. Widnes have got not many home games left, actually. Widnes have got both home games against Nottingham. For some reason, Widnes have still got to play, all being played in March. So Widnes have 3 home games left, one against Leeds and 2 against Nottingham, before Widnes finish off. They're away to Deeside, they're away to Hull, away to Nottingham, away to Solihull, and away to Whitley. So you have to say Leeds have probably got the better of the running, having more home games, but that game at Widnes, 2nd of March, will be a huge one for that 8th spot. So we'll keep an eye on that one.
Widnes will have to target those Lions games if they want to get that 8th spot.
Yeah, and I say home and 2 home games within a couple of weeks, 8th and 22nd, both home against the Nottingham Lions. So the fixture computer might have done them dirty this weekend, but it's done them a favour in the running. We shall see. Middle of the pack still remains stupidly competitive. Teams can still move up and down. I say Warriors with those games. Still a couple of games in hand, so they can still move up. So we'll see how things move again. That kind of 4, 5, 6 middle of the pack could still change for the rest of the season. Anything else on the league tables before we move?
I think that battle for 5th is going to become quite interesting, because I don't think Blackburn are going to slip up enough for Solihull to overtake him. So you don't really want, if you're going into the playoffs, you don't really want to be in 6th, because you're going to get Solihull. Yeah. Whitley are 5 points behind Deeside with 2 games in hand. I think that's quite tasty. I think that's a bit of a tasty battle, because if you're Whitley Warriors, you want to be above Deeside by the end of the season.
The Warriors running is really tough. Like I say, they've got Stars twice. I think there's 3 games against Blackburn in total and 2 against Nottingham. So it's going to be really fun to watch, to be fair, coming to the end of the season.
Yeah.
It is, but Deeside are in free fall, so you've got to look at that little mini battle there and go, nobody wants that 6th place. They just don't.
Yeah, Warriors still a good number of home games left as well. So they're home to Billingham, home twice to Blackburn, home to Hull, home to Leeds, home to Nottingham, and home to Widnes. So
it's going to be huge. Mixed
bag of playing the top teams, but also playing the bottom end teams as well. So Whitley's home form will be key for the rest of the season, like you say. 4, 5, whoever it is, will be a tasty matchup. But 3, 6 going into Hobbs Motor Road. As a playing environment, not talking about anything else, just as a playing environment, we know how difficult that is. So to get that as an away playoff quarterfinal is going to be difficult for anybody. So we'll
just below 500 at home, though.
Who's that?
With the Warriors, they're just below 500 from playing at home, so they're not that dominant at home.
Yeah. But they've got, I say, every chance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 home games left out of their remaining fixture. So fixture list.
It'll be a very exciting for all fans involved.
Either way, for every position, it's pretty much going down to the wire, which you can't argue with. As a league, that's exactly what you want. Quickly, we'll talk about next weekend. I think Carol's being invaded, so we'll bring up the fixtures for next weekend. Again, taken from NIHL stats. On Saturday, Billingham at home to Nottingham, which we'll talk about shortly. Whitley, a home Saturday, a rare home Saturday. This is a rearranged game from Snow Day. Whitley Blackburn, 7 o'clock on Saturday. And then Leeds against Deeside at the Castle at 7:30. And then 4 games on your Sunday. Whitley Warriors complete the home doubleheader. Whitley against Leeds, Solihull against Widnes, Blackburn against Hull, and then the reverse fixture for your Billingham Stars away to Nottingham Lions. We'll talk about the Stars games in a second. Anything else catching your eye? Jono, Carol?
It'll be the Warriors home game with the Hawks on Saturday. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how the Hawks bounce back after a loss, a tough loss as well, because they're the hardest ones to lose. Granted that you played very well and you kind of did nothing wrong throughout the game, but they're the ones that will hurt the most because they're the ones that you're in. They're the ones that you feel like, well, maybe if we just did this, it would have been a different outcome. So they'll be licking the wounds a bit. And like I say, they haven't been great on result-wise the Whitley Warriors, but they'll be absolutely buzzing from the weekend they've just had. They'll have the mental fans that they've got there getting behind them, making that quite an intimidating play. So it'll be very interesting. And it always seems to go to war, these two teams. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how it comes. It'll certainly be another Saturday of watching the phones for the results coming in.
Yeah, definitely. And a Saturday night at Hillheads, a night game. We're getting possibly a different atmosphere. I see Warriors have scored 19 goals last weekend. Tails will be up. They should be buzzing in training this week. So we'll see what turns out on Saturday. Carol, anything for you?
Same again, really. But it's a tricky weekend in full for Blackburn because Hull on Sunday ain't going to be a pushover either. So they've got to bounce back in some style really this weekend because neither of those fixtures are particularly easy. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how Blackburn can return.
Yeah, another spanner in the works for the Hawks is as well as the cup finals a week after. You get one or two lads starting to have a look at that. They'll start thinking maybe don't go on the hits that they'd normally go in for, so that they make sure that they're playing in that cup final that weekend. So there's that to contend with for the Hawks as well.
Yeah, and our guys as well. So I think it's a thing for both teams. So we'll see how it affects the teams. We'll talk about Nottingham, Billingham in a moment. We'll have a quick break, and I'll come back with a preview of next weekend. And then we'll have our first mailbag of the season. We'll take a quick break. We'll join you soon here on Starcast. Welcome back to Starcast. And we're talking now about the weekend upcoming for your Billingham Town Council sponsored Billingham Stars. And it's a home with the Nottingham Lions. We haven't seen them since just before Christmas when we saw them down at the NIC. It's home for the Stars on Saturday this time. Saturday, 5:30 at Formice Arena. And then it says here 7:20, but it's Sunday night at the NIC, the CCM rink. It might as well say Tuesday, but it's Sunday night at the NIC for the return fixture with the Nottingham Lions. We've said in the results and tables piece for the last few weeks, they're winning games, they're scoring goals. The week before the cup final, Carol, this is by no means is this a gimme weekend for the Billingham Stars.
I don't think it was ever a gimme weekend anyway, with regards to cup final. And actually, perversely, I think it's good that we're playing Nottingham before the cup final because we need to be fully focused. Nottingham are not the team that they once were a couple of seasons ago. They're proving that with some of the results they're getting. None of them appear to be shocking anymore. They beat Blackburn earlier in the season. That was maybe a bit of a shock, but since then they've been racking up results that you look at on paper and think, oh, like take last weekend for example, winning 8-3 in D-side. That's a fabulous result. So we were never going to take them for granted anyway, but we need to be laser focused on both games because as we've already seen, and again, broken record time, there aren't any gimme games in this league. And if Sunday didn't prove that, then I don't know what will. So we do need to be laser focused, forget about the cup final. Nottingham is all that matters this weekend.
Yeah. And Jono, that's what the guys after training each week, it's always fuzzies. The mantra's always been the same. It's just the next game, focus on the next game. And that's what we have to do. Two huge games against the Lions. You've got to start with Sunday, the home game on Saturday first. And you've got to kind of, as Carol says, learn from what happened on Sunday at Widnes. Yes, we got the points, but learn from what we could do better and put that into practice this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for once, this is where the fixtures probably benefit us this time round. Having them on the Saturday, I think benefits us. Don't know why. Just in my head, I just feel as though if we can get that result on the Saturday, get a win, get some confidence, we can go into Sunday with a lot more confidence in it as if we'd had a loss. Whereas it's the other way around. You try and chase the game after a game on the Saturday that you might have lost, and you're on home ice in front of your own crowd, chasing the game, and things can become ugly and scrappy. So I'm happy. I'm personally happy the way the fixtures are this weekend. But yeah, this is laser focus time now. We've got to be all hands on deck, making sure everyone's pulling on the same rope. And it's I don't want to jinx anything or be arrogant or anything, but you get 2 big wins this weekend, you're almost home and dry because the fixtures are running out, and you can really concentrate on that cup final weekend.
Yeah. And Nottingham, I say that we had the game in Nottingham before Christmas when the team were there in body perhaps, but not so much in spirit. That was the flu game for the Stars. The home game, we know what happened at the end of the home game. So it's been a funny old series so far against the Lions, but getting them to the Forum, get the crowd in. Saturday crowds have been really good this year. We've had a more than our share of Saturday home games, but Saturday crowds have been really good. Get the Saturday crowd in, get the players jumping again, and get the guys hopefully fired on all cylinders as they've been doing it at home all season so far. Players to mention, we haven't really seen the best of Aleš Padlek, who was the big signing for Nottingham. I think he missed the away game. We didn't see him a lot in the he missed the home game. Sorry, we didn't see him much in the NIC. So, but their guys have been, as we said, scoring goals. So plenty of guys to look out for, Jono.
Yeah, absolutely. All that young talent is older and wiser. Most of them are young men now. They've learned the game. They've been in that organisation for probably playing since they were 16. Most of them are 18, 19, 20 now, playing the way Matt Bradley wants them to play. And they've got some absolute talent there in that, helping them guide the way. Guys like Somerton who will make a big, huge difference in front of net. He knows where the goal is, and he will be an offensive threat to us.
Yeah. I'm just checking the game sheet from Nottingham. Alex Rushby, who we've seen, Tyler Somerton mentioned, Luke Birchnell, Padlek chipping in with goals, and he's kind of over 50 points for the year for Padlek. Kieran Gibbs again, Padlek again at the end. So they've been again spreading the goals out. So we're going to be on our best game, both ends of the ice, Carol, and we'll see what comes out of the ice on Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be a good watch. The 2 players that you mentioned, Alex Rushby, Tyler Somerton, really caught the eye this year. And I believe both of them are beating Padlek in the points stakes. Could be wrong about that. Don't take my word as gospel. But every time I've watched them, weirdly, Nottingham are the team that everybody have seen the most of, apart from their own team, because they're the ones that are on YouTube every other week. So seen quite a lot of Nottingham, and I've liked what I've seen. They do play well. They play. They're very well drilled, which you would expect with somebody like Matt Bradbury in charge. They're consistent. They take advantage of the other team's weaknesses. There's nothing really that we should be surprised about, because we do get to see them more than anybody else. But at the same time, we really do need to know that they know all about us, because that's how they work people out. Is how they get their points this year, is they've worked the other team out and they know how to exploit the weaknesses.
Yeah. Just talking on the stats, Alex Rushby scored 19 goals, Tyler Somerton scored 14 goals. So the guys know where the net is, and Padlek's 29 goals as well. So they know where the net is. They've been doing it a lot in the last few weeks, so they're coming in form as well. So although we sound like we're kind of down on the guys, we're still on an 11-game winning streak as well. So it's not like we're not in form. So we'll see. But yeah, Saturday 5:30 at the Forum. Usual tickets on sale at the door as you come in. We hope to get as many people in there for a Saturday game. And then Sunday, I say it's advertised as 7:20 NIC, the CCM rink, which is the second pad at the National Ice Centre. If you are going down, it is a nice little viewing spot. There's always a good group of Stars fans there. at ringside. But if you're not going, as Carol alluded to, they do have their YouTube stream if they're on the CCM ring. So it's free to watch on Lions TV. Sure, they'll be having the links on their social media. So keep an eye on that on Sunday night if you're not making the trip. Anything else on Nottingham before we depart to our mailbag?
Yeah, the parking's ridiculously expensive if you don't find the right spot. If you are coming down, just be aware, parking awful, and actually the food's not that cheap either. So at Nottingham's cheap to get into the rink, and everything else is expensive.
Yeah. But yeah, a rare double weekend of the same opponent. We'll do it again in March. I think we've got D-side home and home as well. So yeah, fixture list throwing out a couple of curveballs in the last few weeks. But yeah, so hope you can join us at the Forum on Saturday. A Saturday home game, 5:30 as usual, and then down in Nottingham on Sunday night. That's it for the preview as far as next weekend goes. Before we do the mailbags, John, mailbag. Jono, do you want to do your advert slot, and then we'll do the mailbag and then shoot off because it's Tuesday night, it's dinner time.
Yeah. Pushing on. Supporters club stuff. Same as last week. Unfortunately, we haven't got any more mini pucks in yet. We're still looking at getting more of those in. But yeah, we have all of our usual stuff. Orders for sockies. We have the t-shirts in. We have more pucks in now. There's stickers, magnets. All the stuff you'd expect to find, and obviously friendly faces to chat to. So come and say hello. But just do bear with me this weekend because I have only got one.
Yeah, but you'll have somebody there to be a spare arm. I'm sure you'll have your glamorous assistants with you.
No, unfortunately, I think Fiona is missing this weekend.
Somebody go and help Jono, please. He's got one on. He needs a hand. From our side, Carol, we had no obviously playlist for the away game, so hopefully we got a player playlist. We'll find out a training this week who our volunteer is, but we'll get back with interviews on Saturday, and we'll get the big red machine on Sunday night with possibly Gloss or Matt, not shy to say a few words. So hopefully get a double helping of post game reaction this weekend as well.
Hopefully, I do want to give a shout out to all the other content around the league at the minute, because there is quite a lot of it. Please do tune in and listen to other teams' post games. Noticed an increase in that recently. Other podcasts. There's an awful lot of content out there for people if you are of a mind to have a listen. I think it does help sort of broaden your hockey knowledge, broaden your horizons a little, know what's going on around the league. Some of it you will kind of raise your eyebrows at, and I'm talking particularly about the D-Side Dragons podcast, because all is rosy in the D-Side Dragons podcast. Go figure. But please do go out there. Hawks Talk has an interview with Andy McKinney. There is post games out for this week at Whitley and Blackburn. Go find content and go and listen to what other teams have to say. I think it's really enlightening.
And share it about as well.
And share it about, definitely.
Yeah, no, we'll certainly echo that. Spreading the word as we try and do about not just our obviously our team, but the league, the competition. We've said before, the league's only as strong as its weakest component. So if we can make a strong league, then it's all better for everybody else taking part. So yeah, share what you're watching, what you're listening to, and tuck into as much content as you can handle. Thank you for that. Any other business done and dusted? It wasn't actually on the agenda, but I just snuck it in there just to get it in. So thanks to those who responded to call this morning. I stuck it out on social media this morning just to get some thoughts from out there, questions or things for us to talk about. We've got a few good replies. We've got a one by email kind of moments before I press send on the social media post as well. So hi Ella. Ella was keen to get on that as well. So had a couple of emails, people on Facebook and stuff. So we'll just take it from the list, and we'll give our thoughts, and we'll if it goes down well, we'll do a mailbag again later in the season. So we'll start with Facebook, and this new fan called Mick Fern. I don't know if we've heard of him.
No, no idea who he is.
But Mick says, started watching ice hockey a season or two before the Bombers went bust. I'm not sure of the year, but we had players like Richard LaPlante. I've enjoyed some good times and some not so good times. In all my years, I think this is just the most enjoyable season I've had, with a great team, superb ice hockey, and great supporters. Am I wrong? Do you remember a better time? Carol, you can start. Is Mick wrong?
He's not wrong. But at the same time, I think every time or era is good and bad for different reasons. So he's not wrong, but I think it's kind of a little bit unfair to compare it with previous eras, just because it's just different horses for courses, if you like. So me personally, because of my age, probably, I think I equate the kind of late 80s, early 90s as my kind of the zenith of my hockey watching, just because of things like I actually wrote some notes down on this, just because of things like the promotion season that we had when Tim Cranston, Kevin Conway and Andrew Marlowe were our own pots. That was amazing. Anything to do with the Kathleen Cup. As soon as you mention the Kathleen Cup, the hairs on the back of the neck go up, because it was just so brilliant. All the trips that we did to Wembley, and by the way, the Bombers never even made Wembley, so this isn't going to see my team thing. It's a how brilliant is hockey and the hockey family thing. So all of my experience of Wembley, the time that the Northeast was genuinely the centre of UK ice hockey. So yeah, late 80s, early 90s for me, but he's still not wrong. This time is brilliant as well.
Yeah, nice one. Jono, do you want to take Mick's point?
Yeah. I think he's right, as in what we have right now, but I think we feel more attached to this team. We've kind of watched it grow up since COVID, which has been absolutely fantastic. But as Carol says, like, hockey just 10 years ago was a completely different beast. Obviously, I'm nowhere near as old as Carol. I was only born in the late 80s, so those times aren't as memorable in my memories. I had the pleasure of growing up watching Stephen Wallace Jr., as in the Buccaneer now, become the player he became, and that was kind of my era, with Tom Brown, Bri Perry, Spike at his strongest, and Fletcher at his strongest, watching those sort of teams. I think the Billingham Eagles, we went on a 3 or 4 year run of winning the league, that kind of really. So those were good times. Obviously, a lot more physical back then, a lot more fighting, a lot more scrapping. But to watch what we have now is absolutely fantastic, and long may it continue with everything, really, especially off the ice.
Yeah, no, 100% agree that. I say what particular point about watching this team grow up over the last 3-4 years. It does kind of make it kind of it's our team. I know you get attached to the teams that you watch. Obviously, I'm a fairly recent convert to Teesside, so maybe don't have the Bombers memories and the Billingham memories as other people would. In terms of Billingham, the last few years have been hugely enjoyable, and I say Mick's not wrong on that point. I say everybody has their personal heyday, but great that Mick's enjoying the season. Obviously, Mick's leading the singing from the front of Block B, and we much appreciate that support as well. Join in on Saturday if you're coming along. But yeah, thanks to Mick for leading us off. We'll stick with Facebook. Kev Dawson. This is picking a team one. This is always difficult. If you could pick a Billingham first line, 1 goalie, 2 D and 3 forwards, without the restriction of age, assuming they're all in their prime when playing together, who would your starting 6 be and why? Jono, do you want to start with this one?
I'll go with this. Obviously, it's easy just to go on stats, but I'm going to do it as in my time of watching teams. So I'm going to go with James Flavel in it, just because I've never seen a netminder that good. and not be a professional. It's absolutely crazy how good he was, and he only went to Steel because he should have been an elite netminder, for my opinion. He was that good, but obviously chose a different career path. Probably wise move, to be honest, especially to see where he's at now. Andre Marlowe, I did have the pleasure of seeing him, and no reasons why, just because Andre Marlowe. He's an absolute legend. May go controversial, this one, because I've seen great D-men over the years, even the likes of Tom Brown Senior and stuff, but I'm going to go with Richie Thornton, one of the best Brit D-men I have ever seen playing Billingham, to come from Billingham. Skates, one of the most beautiful skaters I've ever seen in my life, to be honest. Just he is that good, and you can see the development he's had on our D right now. So that was my D. And I'm going to go really out there for this. I'm cheating. I'm going to go with Stephen Wallace, Robert Dowd, and Chris Sykes as my forward line, just because they're probably Stars' best player over the last 10 years, being Chris Sykes. Robbie Dowd, for what he's gone on to achieve now, is amazing. Just to say he's from Billingham, to be Steelers captain, Steelers Grand Slam captain. Not many people can say they've won a Grand Slam, never mind being a captain of that organisation at the time. He's GB captain. And Stephen Wallace, again, another one who went to the highest of the highs of the game in this country and dominated on the scoring points.
Excellent. Carol, your line.
Okay, so Jono and I never compared notes before this podcast. I want that pointed out. I've only got one player different to Jono. I won't say who just yet, but I will say, you could ask me the same question tomorrow, and I'd probably pick a different six, just because.
I
know what you're going to say.
I feel bad for leaving Spike and Fletch out.
Yeah. And there's qualities and other elements that you can judge players on, not necessarily, as you say, stats or anything else.
Yeah.
It's what they bring to the party, as it were. So,
to be fair, Splat was a cheap pick. I mean, he left the club at 15-year-old. And he was that good when he left. Exactly.
Right. So, for my own reasons, I picked a very similar six, but I could have picked a completely different six. And I think that's the beauty of watching Billingham over a good length of time, is that you get to see some amazing players. I will say I deliberately tried to keep away from the imports, because you could just do 5 imports at goalie, because we've seen some fantastic imports over the years. But I also went for Flav, because who wouldn't? I on another day would have picked Stephen Foster, because people forget when Fozzie played for us, he was still at school and he was fabulous. So yeah, I could have picked Stephen Foster, but I didn't. I went for Flav. I also
definitely never letting you interview him again now after that.
Well, you know what? I think he can get that. I think he can get it. I also went for Andre Marlowe, because Andre Marlowe, how he hasn't got a shirt in the rafters, I don't know. That's a hint to our management, by the way. Andre Marlowe needs a shirt in the rafters. I also went for Richie Thornton, so not controversial at all. Could have went for Gaz Dowd, and on another day I would have done, because we've produced some D-men that have never got the recognition that they deserve. And Richie, for me, is the complete D-man. I also went for Splat, because Splat, and again, who wouldn't? And I also went for Sykesy, because just for the contribution he's made since he's been here. But the difference is, and I bet you can all get it. Come on, there's the hint. Who did I go for?
Does it begin with Patrice and end with Lefebvre?
Yeah, just because
I was 5 years old then.
Exactly. I mean, Jono didn't have quite the same enjoyment of Pat that I did. I've never seen a player like that in a Billingham shirt. He's the best player that I've ever seen. No,
like I say, not many people go from Billingham of the Heineken League into the NHL. So,
no.
And I've told obviously producers before. I've never seen Patrice as a player, but obviously hearing about him, I've managed to talk to him a few times online, and I get the vibe. So yeah, 100%. I was a bit difficult. I mean, I'll make a pick. It's. I don't know if it's less valid. I've only been obviously since 2011, so my sample size is quite small. But I also went for James Flavel. You'll not be surprised to know. Talking about, I think you were talking about D-men who skate so well. Ross Hanlon and Tommy Spraggan as a D pair. Yeah, Richie was there, but I'm just thinking, and I would have forwards. God, just throw them in the end, catch them, and yeah. The one that got away for me, I know you mentioned you could have imports, but one that got away from us, and it would have been great to have him back with a better supporting cast, perhaps, was Denis Basketovs.
Agreed.
I would love to have him back, so I'd have Dennis. Do I show my face again if I don't have Spike? Because my Spike was his last 3 or 4 years, and it wasn't the Spike that everybody else knows, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'd probably have, if I was having input, I would have Denis Basketovs. I mean, them first years, so many goals. You've got to have Sykesy. And yeah, I kind of picked Splat because he didn't play when I was playing. So yeah, we'll just rotate on the third spot on that first wing. So
Chicken.
I'm gonna chicken out. I kind of pick. No, there's been that many the last 10, 15 years or so since I've been there. So yeah, yes, I'm a chicken, and yes, I haven't picked Spike. So sorry, but there you go. But thanks to Kev for making the point. The first email I received when I put the post out this morning was from Ella Wilson. You can tell it was early on because she starts that email at good morning. Morning, Ella. Thanks for the email. I think a great question would be, who do you think is underrated this season? A lot of attention on the first line, but some of the players are quietly having a great season. Loving the podcast, she says. Thanks, Ella, for the question and for the compliment. We'll take everything we can get. Underrated, Carol, from our stars of 24-25.
I'm hoping none of them feel underrated because I think we've tried to give everybody the due credit they deserve. But I will give special mention to Lucas Dowdle, who I think has come on leaps and bounds this year, and is pretty much every week on whatever line he's been put on, he's absolutely doing the business. I will say underrated because I still don't hear people talking about him as an improved player is Stewie Jackson, because I think the Stewie Jackson of this season is a million miles from the Stewie Jackson of last season. He has really stepped up his game this year, much improved, but under the radar completely.
Yeah, I get that. Jono?
Yeah, I feel bad for trying to just picking out one guy because obviously a lot of the lads are grafting week in, week out. But from last season to this season, again, it's going to be Callum Wilkinson for me. Just complete again, night and day. The poor lad couldn't hit a barn door last year. I think he ended up with 1 or 2 goals, maybe 8, 5, 6 points all season. I think he's got something like 12 goals this year, and he's edging ever closer. Maybe he's just past 30 points. That's a huge turnaround on last season. And yeah, I think he's been an absolute veteran this year, and he's only a young lad. He's only a young lad himself.
Yeah, no, agree with that. 100% on Lucas Dowdle. He was one of my first thoughts. But I'm going to make 2 players called Joe on defence. Joe Walls and Joe Dowdle. Walls in particular, he just turns up, no nonsense, does his stuff, and goes home. Avoiding the interviews completely, but he just no messing, just does his job. And it is noticeable when he's not in the lineup. Hopefully that's. I know he's got to work and stuff, but Joe, come on. But yeah, no, the 2 Joes for me are the best, most underrated. If that's the compliment of sorts, I don't know. Be interesting to see what other people think when we stick this out. Last couple are on a similar sort of theme. Luke Kenning by email. Hi, if you could pick a player from across the Morley, non-import, to come in and improve the Stars, who would you pick and why? Love the pod. Thanks, Luke. Unpaid as well, unsolicited praise. So thanks for the
email.
And a similar one on Twitter, again, picking a team from across the league. Graham Hamilton, who we're going to mention before, Hawks Talk. Can each presenter pick a starting six using all players from current different teams? Six is probably much, but yeah. So combine those two. Give us a couple of players from across the Morley who you would have in your Stars lineup.
I could probably. I'll give you one player, and I can give you 6 players if you want.
Go on then.
6 players. Nick Widnes, I think he's been absolutely sensational on that Skims team for what that Skims team's been. Is netminder. I'll try and go a bit side out of the box as well with this one. Defenseman, not many teams with defense this year, but I went with Alex White, even though he's been playing forward lately. Alex White did start the season in defense, and a defenseman I certainly would have had straight away. And Harry Harley, I just think the guy's a class act up at Whitley Bay, has been for many, many years now. And the forwards, well, to be fair, the forwards is quite easy. I love Owen Dell at Leeds. I think he's absolutely class. I love Fritz Heinzel at Leeds. I think he's absolutely class. And then I went with Somerton at Nottingham because I think he's having a great season, even though he's a chirpy little so-and-so.
Yeah.
And the team I would have on my team would be Carl Ross because I think he's absolutely exceptional hockey player. Again, unfortunately, he's up the road.
Righty-ho. Carol?
I'm going to have to... Right, Jono, can you stop, copying my notes before I come on here? Because I also had Kyle Ross. And the reason I picked Kyle Ross as the player I'd like on my team is a bit like Joe Walls. Whitley are a much poorer team when Kyle Ross isn't on it.
Yeah.
So that's why I went for him. He's not in my 6, so a bit like Jono. So I went for Zach Brown in goal. By the way, I base this on players that I've seen in game time, not on stats.
Yeah.
I've just gone on performances that I've seen. So some of these might seem a bit odd, but it's just from the games that I've seen. So Zach Brown, I think Zach Brown on his game is one of the best netminders in the league. And he continues to keep holding games they have no right to be in. Harry Harley, just because Harry Harley is the standout D at Whitley Bay by a country mile and has been for how many years? I don't know. On performances, Bailey Challens. Again, I think that's probably a controversial choice because I'm not sure how he's played outside of games that I haven't seen, but the games I've seen, awesome. I've gone for, because he's the best player in the league, I had to go for Nicholas Otterson because otherwise somebody from Solihull would have a mourn. So Nicholas Otterson's in there. For the 2 games that we had over in Lancashire, I went for Jacob Lutwich because he's a pest. And I went for the other of the Leeds trio, Jono. You went.
You would.
I went for Vengus. So we've got all 3 of them in there. But these are just, like I said, these are just on games that I've seen. I'm well aware that there are other players who've played better or got better
statistically better.
Yeah. But it's just on games that I've seen, which is why Big Jake's not in there, because every time I've seen him, he's been average.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, fair enough. I haven't done a team of other teams, but of players I want to add to the Stars. I would agree with your Leeds guys. I think Edgar Vengus, Michael Daneko, yes, Kyle Ross from across the road, as it were. Always a standout whenever we play them. He's that generally their best player. From Widnes, Bailey Thompson as well. to keep in our kind of youth movement to kind of bringing guys on.
I wouldn't mind having that as a 2-way next year, to be honest. Just for his next step of his development.
If only we knew the coach at Solway to talk about it and ask him.
Martin Grubb, if you're listening.
But again, on all of these points, obviously you've heard our thoughts. Occasionally the host is chickened out of actually answering any of the questions, but that's host prerogative. But yeah, you've heard our thoughts. Put them in the chat or the comments or wherever you're watching and listening. Give us your thoughts on enjoyable seasons or what your all-time Billingham line. I know the Kev Dawson's post has started that kind of chat already on the Facebook page. So there's a few people putting their all-time line, all-time Brit line. So there's plenty of discussion to be had there. But yeah, let's hear your thoughts and thank you to everybody who took the time to send us a message and send us a question. And we'll definitely do a mailbag again. I say maybe a quiet time, summertime, a mailbag only would be a good chance to get a pot together. But we'll certainly resurrect the mailbag later in the season. Thank you to everybody for taking part. I know we haven't got any other business. There's nothing urgent that I've missed that we should talk about, is there? The NHL Pretend World Cup starts tomorrow, but we're not fussed about that.
Just get your playoff tickets.
Playoff tickets, good reminder. We've had an email from the events team. The early bird runs out on Friday at 11:59 p.m.
It does.
So if you want to get your tickets for the Steel City Showdown, go to follow the links on AIH socials or the events team and find their links and get your tickets for that. The next couple of weeks we will actually have a competition to win some tickets as well. If you're not going to buy them on the early bird price, we do have a competition thanks to the NIHL management. We'll have a competition in a week or two's time. But yes, tickets for that. Tickets for Coventry seem to be going extremely well. There's very few tickets left in most blocks. So where they're going to fit in the hundreds of North 1 and South 1 fans for the Sunday Championship game, that's for them to sort out and not for us to worry about.
I believe those have been held back.
Yeah. So we'll but yeah, wherever you want your post-season hockey, get your tickets. It's particularly the Sheffield event. The Sheffield event, I think, is going to be huge. So certainly get your tickets for that one. A big Billingham presence already booked in. So enjoy your weekend for that one. Saturday, Forum Ice Arena, 5:30 face-off against the Nottingham Lions. Sunday, down at the NIC at the CCM rink, 7:30-ish, 7:30 for 8, shall we say, whatever the invitation says. But yeah, if you're going down on Sunday, expect a late one. But yeah, the stream is also available on Lions TV on YouTube if you're not going to Nottingham. Anything else, Carol, Jono, before we say goodnight?
No, I'm all good.
All good here.
All good. And if you see Jono on Saturday, don't touch his left elbow. That's all I'm saying.
He called me old. So.
Carol can for the age jab earlier on. So, but yeah, supporters club, merch, everything going on Saturday.
Buses.
Away still.
Forgot the buses.
Yeah.
I'm going to be getting shot. Yeah, the buses. Yeah. Blackburn and D-side. Come and pay for your seats. Book your seats. I believe both buses are down to single figures, so if you want to get to those games, do come and see us.
And I think I've missed the biggest news. The Stars Hotshot is a triple rollover.
Triple rollover.
I got that from last weekend. That's 2 weeks out of the hockey, the brain's gone. Triple rollover on the Stars Hotshot. Get your tennis balls early. Big cash prize up for grabs. So plenty going on. Hope to see you on Saturday for the Stars against the Lions. It'd be great to see you on Sunday at the Nottingham Ice Arena as well. But if not, enjoy whatever you're doing this weekend. Thanks for watching, listening and sharing and talking about Starcast. Thanks to Carol and Jono for their input as always. And we'll be back next week from the official podcast of your Billingham Town Council, sponsored Billingham Stars. Bye for now.
Thank you for being part of this episode of Starcast, the official podcast of your Billingham Stars. Remember to like and share this episode, send a review when you can, follow us on social media for the very latest news and to find out when the next Starcast will drop.